Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Season 2 of Settlers. Today we are back in the Overlook creating a vitally important build for our tribe, and the war between the Darfari and the Yhaargan is quickly brewing. So without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, we're starting off with, of course, the baseplate. This is going to be the craftsman's workshop where armour and weapons are made for the Darfari. I connected the build to the guard tower staircase I built last episode, and the baseplate is fairly simple, though given it does look a bit more complicated than it actually is. I built it with the usual material palette using the blueprint on screen now, and there is also a small 2x2 section at the rear that I didn't add at this stage, I instead added it later. Next, for the walls. I used Flotsam, again to keep with the material palette for the village. I want this workshop to be fairly rough and cramped as it's not meant to be a luxurious home or a splendourous workplace, but rather a building of necessity. I built the walls up 1 tile high over the front bay, and then 2 tiles high on the rest of the structure according to the elevation of the foundations below. I also ran a staircase up the back side of the build that I was initially going to connect to an upstairs bedroom, but I eventually decided against it. The build's already going to look fairly tall because it's on a hill, so that would make it pretty obnoxious in terms of its height. I wanted to keep the build modest, so I eventually swapped the stairs to the other side of that section and built it up to a small first floor catwalk a little later on. Next, I began to prepare the roofing. This build is a fairly unusual shape, so working out how to set this roof up was pretty difficult. I played around with different levels of roofing and gables, and honestly, watching the clips back, I'm still somewhat confused about how I managed to get the roof to work in the first place. Nevertheless, I eventually managed to set up a roof preparation that I was happy with, and I also began to add the extension on the back side near the stairs, though I would eventually push it out even further. Next, the roofing. I was going to use Flotsam, but given that this workshop is basically the war machine of the Darfari, the chance of rain working its way in isn't a good risk to take. Therefore, I instead chose to use wooden roof pieces. They keep that really rustic edge, and I have used them somewhat sparingly throughout the village already, so they are perfect for this purpose. I did have to make a couple of adjustments to the roof prep I did earlier, but it actually went quite well. Finally, I added a small makeshift awning outside the front door. Finally, when the shell of the build was done, it was then time to, of course, furnish. Approaching the workshop, I've added a small cooking area just outside, and I've also added some Darfari banners and wind chimes to the staircase up to the workshop. Entering the build, you pass through the front storage area and up the stairs on the right to the work area itself. Here, the craftsman is currently working on a god statue to provide a blessing on the Darfari warriors. The workshop is cluttered and messy, packed with crates, boxes and barrels for storing the resources that will be used in the workstations. This build includes a lot of simple crafting areas, including a grinding area upstairs for creating powders and potions that can be used to imbue weapons. On the rear extension is the tannery, perhaps one of the most important parts of this build. This is where hides can be tanned into sturdy, war-ready armours. A small ways across the village, the Darfari tribal chief stands sentinel, watching over the approach to the Overlook. A Darfari scouting party found the dead tribe mates at the shipwreck, and they know that war is coming. The tribal chief is preparing once more to fight the Yhaargan, though this time it will likely be to the death. In preparation, the Darfari have mobilised through the jungle, setting up outposts within the various ruins and at tactical choke points in their territory. They're watching over the borders, taking on the Yhaargan strategy of splitting up to better control the area. They've yet to make direct contact with the enemy, but that may not last for long. The Yhaargan are adept at stealth, and they've already scouted out the Darfari encampments. Throughout the Divide and the fringes of the Darfari territory, various Yhaargan detachments are slowly approaching the Darfari camps, hoping for a unified strike that will remove the resistance in the path to taking the Overlook. Working her way through Darfari territory, one Yhaargan has finally managed to lay eyes upon the home of our Darfari tribe. The Overlook has been fortified, with the entrance now manned by Darfari berserkers, and choked down even more with palisades and obstacles. More archers are also manning the defensive walls too, preparing for any attempted assaults that could happen at any given moment. A few days prior, Tella's body was recovered from the shipwreck and finally put to rest. The Darfari followed their customs, placing her into the abyss of Yog and reciting prayers to the cannibal god as she burns. The Darfari quietly mourned and then partook of her flesh, praying it would imbue them with her warrior spirit in preparation for the coming war. Throughout the jungle, a war horn sounds, signalling the Yhaargan to begin their attack. And there we have it, Season 2, Episode 5 of Settlers is now complete. Thanks for watching. The Craftman's Workshop is going to enable the Darfari to make more armours and weapons for the war effort, but they may not even have time to take full advantage. With the war horn echoing throughout the jungle, the Yhaargan may dispatch of our Darfari before they even have a chance to fully prepare. If you enjoy my content, all the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Host Havoc affiliate page, NordVPN discount and NordPass discount are available in the description below. However, of course, you can simply just leave a like, a comment or subscribe. Any of those are very greatly appreciated. Patrons get a bunch of nice benefits, including sneak peeks of videos, your name in every video, custom made wallpapers in 1080p and 4K resolutions, full-size build blueprints, Discord roles and more. As always, a massive thanks to our patrons Sadialot, Randar, Connor, Ivy, Torn, Ill-Fated, Coffeeman04, Jacques, Marion Ladd, Ryan, Ben, Alfric, Eagle Rose, Psychotic Diva, Melanie, and X Screeches X. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.